Art, I don't want to alarm you, but we just escaped.
If you follow me on social media or watch any of my streams, then you know that I love me some fighting games. I even covered a fighting game on my channel a few years back. But one thing that I don't talk about often is Power Rangers. I started watching the show around the Disney era and got heavy into the franchise as a whole once I got Netflix, which had all the seasons and still stays updated to this day. And yet, for some reason, despite my love for both fighting games and Power Rangers, I never considered the idea of a Power Rangers fighting game. And even then, I would have assumed that such a game would be a more casual fighter like the Ninja Storm series, and not just because it shares a name with a Power Rangers season. Never did I think that a game developer would make a traditional 2D fighter based on the franchise, but along came a game called Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Developed by N-Way Games, this is the studio's first console release and their second Power Rangers game, the first being Legacy Wars on mobile. Despite general disinterest when it was first revealed, the game has earned its fair share of fans when it was finally released, and with the free story mode update alongside 3 additional characters coming out recently, I think now is a great time to have a look at this game and see if it's worth the $20 price of admission. Battle for the Grid story is a loose retelling of the Shattered Grid storyline from the comics. In an alternate universe, Tommy refused to join the Rangers and uses the power of both the white and green power coins to kill Rita Repulsa and travel across the multiverse, kidnapping and killing other Rangers and taking their morphers, and it's up to the surviving Rangers from various eras to team up and stop him. In between each fight, you get short back and forths between the characters, tying everything together, with the important bits being told in fully voice-acted cinematics. It's a pretty straightforward story told in 12 chapters, with a varying number of fights per chapter. The fights aren't all that difficult, so the average player can easily clear the story in one sitting. But let's be honest here, unless it's Soul Calibur, a NetherRealm game, or maybe an ArcSys game, next to no one plays a fighting game for the story. So for what it is, it's serviceable, and provides a decent single player experience. As far as modes are concerned, we have our standard fighting game offerings: story, arcade mode, versus mode, training mode, and both local and online multiplayer. Similar to games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, Battle for the Grid has a single round 3-on-3 fighting system. As of this video, the roster sits at 12 characters, with 3 of them having been released in a recent update for free, and 3 more coming soon in the season pass. There's a nice mix of representation from the Saban, Disney, and Neo Saban eras, and even the 2017 movie. Of course, there's some favoritism towards Mighty Morphin, and while I wish they didn't take up as much of the roster as they do, knowing that there are more characters to come makes this a bit easier to accept. As for the fighting itself, Battle for the Grid takes an approach that appeals to both newcomers and fighting game veterans. Usually, 3-on-3 fighters tend to be a bit daunting and chaotic with the insane length of combo chains and commands, and they tend to move very fast. But this game slows things down a bit and makes the action easier to follow. Additionally, much like Smash Bros, every fighter has the same set of commands, so newcomers don't have to remember different inputs for different characters. Each character has a light, medium, and heavy attack, directional specials, and EX moves that use your power meter. So the variety comes from what those commands do for each character, rather than what commands each character has. The result is a system that emphasizes fundamentals and makes it easier for new players to figure out which character's fighting style suits them the best. Fighting games as a whole have been pushing to be more inclusive to newcomers while also appealing to experts, and we've reached an era where the genre has become more accessible than it's ever been before. N-Way has stated that they want to support the game for several years, so we can expect even more characters to come out soon. I'm looking forward to seeing which Rangers they pick, and if the story mode is anything to go by, I say that Jen and Lauren are pretty strong contenders. In the visuals department, Battle for the Grid is serviceable. Again, this is a budget title, so we have to temper our expectations a bit with the presentation. The same goes for the music. We're not going to be taken for a ride or breaking out of the door or screaming incomprehensible death metal. At the very least, the story mode cinematics are well illustrated, and the developers were even able to get some of the original voice actors from the series to voice their characters, including Jason David Frank and Austin St. John. So N-Way is willing to do what they can with what they have. Battle for the Grid is not a game that aims high. It only aims to be a fun fighting game for both fans of the genre and fans of Power Rangers, while also being easy for beginners to understand and learn. And I say that it succeeds in that regard. While some would balk at the season pass, the price of the base game and the season pass is still less than the average launch price of a major release without DLC. I know that I've brought up the game's low price a couple times throughout this video, but I did so because it's important to keep price in mind when judging what a product has to offer. If this were a $60 game, I would be a lot harsher because the content that's being offered right now is not worth $60, but for a $20 game that's adding free content on top of paid DLC, I think the game brings enough to the table to justify the asking price. It's definitely better than Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, that's for sure. Damn, this series is getting bodied by its own copycats. So what did you think of this video? Swap in that comment section below or bug me on social media. Until next time, keep it sketchy, folks.